Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel. This is the Crucible of NYC. I'm your host, Domingo. Today I'll be installing the LED lights, the headlamps, for my 2017 Kia Soul EV. I had these Auxito LED lights for quite some time. I've had them for about, I would say 8 months, and they were working fine until one side went out and then the other side started flickering. The company sent me some ballasts to install, but unfortunately with the ballast, they still continue to flicker and they weren't working correctly. Then one side of the LED completely went out. So I'm outside in the garage, usually where I park my car, and it's pretty empty, so it gives me some peace and quiet, some privacy to do this video and to do an installation. It's just for anyone who has a Kia Soul EV 2017 from 16 and up. I believe it's up to 2015 or 2011 to 2015. They're almost the same, and then 2016 to 2018 they're about the same. But I'll correct any information. I'll put it up on the screen. What is the correct years for these headlamps? So these are the Auxito LED lights. They're very bright when they work correctly at night. I mean, the intensity is very good. Because I have projector lights, I don't blind the oncoming traffic. And if you have reflector lights, then of course you're gonna have this immense lighting that's gonna blind oncoming traffic. So these are the H11, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put all the correct information of the bulb size and all the information. So to get this headlamp off, unfortunately, there has to be some unscrewing, also unscrewing for the fuse box. You have to unscrew, and you're gonna need these type of tools, which are just a small extension and 10-inch millimeter, like a long socket, and a short one, as well as an extension and the socket wrench. So how to get to this is going to be that you're going to have to, I don't know if you can see down there, but in that little cubby, so there is a socket right there, a bolt that needs to be undone, and then as well as the one here has to be undone as well, so that you can get to the, there you go, so that you can get to that portion there to remove this one, this box that's here, just to get to the back of the bulb that's located in there. And it's a really tight spot. If you can see it there, it's in a very, very tight spot. So once you unscrew this, there's really not much room to get into, and it's not on this side. It's unfortunately, it's on that side. So it's way up here. I don't know if you can see it. I wasn't sticking the middle finger to you guys, but it's there. So you see how close this part is. And once you undo this to take the bulb out, it's really uncomfortable. It's very hard. So it's best to remove this box that's here. It's like a fuse box. And on the other side, it's a little bit more liberating, because on this side, you have more space to get to. So this is where the air conditioned Freon comes from. So you have the pipe here. So it's easier to just get to the back of here. And once you unscrew this, you have more than enough room to pull the headlamp out. So just come along with me in this little installation. It's not a big deal. It's not something that's very hard to do. I just figured that anyone who has a Kia and wants to have brighter lights than the stock lights that they come with, the stock lights are horrible. I can assure you that. They're very yellow. It's not fun at night, because at night when you're riding, you can barely see the road. So I'm surprised that being an EV, you have all these LED lights, and then they give you these halogen lights that don't give off any type of illumination. So going aftermarket LED is a great thing, but it can come at a cost, because when they burn out, then you have to go through this whole process again of installing it. I also have some ballasts that I want to try to install with this. Hopefully it'll prevent the flickering and it'll work well. So I'll just stop the video right now, and then I'll restart it again in the position where I'm going to be uninstalling those screws to slightly move the box out of the way. Okay everyone, so here are the tools. So you have your ratchet here, you have your extension here, and as well as your 10 millimeter socket, which is the long one that goes in this side. So we'll go ahead and we'll make sure that it's on the loosened side. So we'll go ahead and we'll loosen this one. And once this one comes out, we just hold the lug nut here, we put it to the side. And the one for that side, we need to remove the extension and the long 10 millimeter, and we have to use the short one as well as the shorter 10-inch socket, or you could just use the 10-inch socket, which I think will make it a little easier just to fit it in that little hole because it's so uncomfortable. So we'll go here and we'll loosen this guy. And once it's loose enough, just remove it from the ratchet and just unscrew it with your hand. And just to be careful, be mindful that it doesn't fall down. And once this comes off, it's a screw, a 10-inch screw. You put your tools to the side and you'll be able to lift this up. Now, this comes up with a little bit of pressure. There you go. And once you move it to the side, you have at least some room here to maneuver. I don't know if you folks can see this, so I'll get there closer so you can see it for where that little area is. That now that there's more flexibility, it's not much room, but it is a little more than what I had before in that room there. So I'm gonna try to angle this. It's a little difficult. So if you look right here, this now I can just move this to the side and get into this little compartment here. And once you'll see that it's unscrewed, a little tough to unscrew it, but you'll see it'll come off. So you gotta turn it to the right and left, play around with it until it comes off. So it has a seal, like a gasket, to prevent any moisture from going in. And once you get in there, you pull the LED out, and as you can see, the LED comes out with the cable here. And so, unfortunately, one of the sides of the filament was burned out, so I'm going to remove the bulb, and here we go. So this is the bad bulb here, and sorry for the extra noise, guys, since we are outside. So the bulb got burned in one side. I don't know which one because I can't see it, but when it turns on, you can see that one light. And I'll try to, as a matter of fact, I'll pop this back in, and I'll try to turn on the light and see if you can see it, what the part that I'm telling you about. Let's see. And I'm not sure if you could see it, so, and there it is. So I'm not sure if you can see this. One side is bright, the other side is out. So it's kind of hard to grab this like that. So one side is out, it's completely gone. Okay, so let's see. And so with that side being out, it just, like I showed you before, it just makes it that much difficult to at least see anything in the nighttime because, you know, it kind of sucks. But I have the film, I have the replacement bulbs here, and I also have the ballasts here that I'm going to connect to the bulb socket and see what happens. Let's see if hopefully that does anything and changes anything in the way that I drive at night. All right, folks, so on this side here, you'll see that there are two cables that are coming out of the LED bulb. So these are positive and negative cables, but fortunately enough that when you look at the LED bulb, on the bulb you do have a positive and a negative, and both terminals are the same size. So when you do connect them, it's not a one size fits all because it fits in reverse. So it has like a reverse polarity on this, because I have connected this before on both sides, and I've seen it still work. So the positive and negative are on the bulb, but on the cable itself, if you look at the cable, there are no positive and negative on the cable, which is the weirdest thing. When you look at all these cables, you would figure that there would be a a positive and a negative. So on the ballast, you have a positive and a negative blade that goes into the terminals. And so what we'll do is just to test the connection. So I went with negative to the left and positive to the right. And then, so with the old bulb, I'm gonna go with negative to negative and positive to positive. And we'll test the light out. It's hard to leave it there, so without it dangling. So I'll go ahead and turn on the light and see how that looks for the headlamp to be turned on. So let's see. So this is on the on position. And as you can see, the light is still on. That's just a beep because my key's in my pocket. So you can see that it does hold the right and left the same way. So it doesn't matter the orientation of the power. So we'll go and we'll turn the ignition off. And as you can see, the light is really, really dimly lit. And you can see like there's like an array that's burned out. Even with the ballast, it's completely burned. This LEDs are actually really no good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove the negative and the positive. And I'll put the bad bulb here so I don't mix the good and the bad. So here we have, let's see on this one. Funny. Oh man, perfect train time, huh? So on this one, it doesn't have a positive and a negative side that I can see. So I'm just gonna test the bulb on this position that it has right now. And let's see how this works. So it's on position. Holy cow, that thing is bright. I mean, like, yeah, I'm gonna turn the light off because I'm sure that the camera went out of whack, but being that how bright that bulb is, it was just insanely bright. So yeah, that was just a bit too bright. So I'll turn let's see if I can maybe zoom out a little bit. There you go. That will make it so much easier. So I'll do it again, but I know that the camera may go out of focus, but it's really, really bright, guys. And once that light is there, the projection is insanely bright. So this is with it on, with the good bulb. And I'll show you guys again how it looks with the bad bulb. So this is white to positive, black to negative. And then you'll see, again, I'll turn it on. And let's see. And you'll see again that the light is poorly lit. It's not even working as it was. I mean, granted, when it was first on, when I first had the light, it was just so freaking bright, as you saw it when it came on, but it's not as bright enough as anymore. But so what I'll go ahead, I'll remove the bad bulb, put it to the side. We're gonna use the good bulb, and let's just double check it again before I put it in with the ballast. So put it back in on position. Let's see. Okay. And yep, it's working as designed, so at least that's a great thing. It's bright as heck, man. Sorry guys in advance. So once it's on now, the tricky part is it's actually taking the ballast and the bulb and putting it in, because unfortunately the housing, it has like this seal. When it's placed into the rubber, it's not much room for the ballast to fit in, and the ballast itself gets a little warm itself because it has to transfer the power. But because that there's no room, I really don't want to leave it exposed out in the open and the elements, because being that this is electrical and this is hot, water can get inside of the LED housing and mess up that as well. And it's just a hot mess, man. It's just like, I wish that they had a better design for these things, not like not the way it is. Because the unfortunate part, see, the thing is that when you have this light bulb here, it attaches itself to the housing, and it's easy to just turn it with the housing and it locks in place. But without the housing and just having the ballast installed, it makes it that much harder and more fragile to turn, because it has a position that it has to be locked in. So I don't know if you guys can see it, that it has like these little teeth and these little guides that it uses, and then you'd have to turn it once it gets into a position so that it can lock itself in place. So if you turn it by the back, as you can see, it's a little tricky and dangerous too, because now when you're trying to get it out, you really can't get it out. It's going to be very difficult to remove that device, the ballast, and remove this whole housing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the ballast, because unfortunately, like I said, I don't want to have the bulb stuck in there. Now I can't get the bulb out because it's wedged in there, because I didn't put it in place with this socket here, that it belongs here by factory. So it has more of a grip and more of a housing. So once you put the bulb in, it's easier to take it out. So you'd have to start looking for the position of the bulb, playing with it. It's like you have to push it in clock and then turn it like clockwise to lock the bulb in place. So, and then we have this part again, which makes it that much harder to lock the bulb in place. So, and then you'll feel it click once you turn it. But the design, I think that Kia, to put this bulb, I think that this was not a really good design, because it makes it that much harder to get the bulb out and in, thanks to this fuse panel here, this fuse box here, in the position that it's in. It's really hard to get this bulb out. So I think that this, like some cars, you see that this would be either on the wall, and being that it's on the wall, it's away from the headlamp. But I digress. I didn't design the car. I didn't build it. Thank you, Kia, for making the car, because I love the car. But, I think that suggestions are always welcome to anyone, because, if I'm designing something, and if someone has a different point of view of something, and if I could make it better, then why not? So once you position this back into place, it has like a little nipple on the side that goes into the fender of the car. And that is like a guide for that whole fuse box. So I'll show you guys. So I'll put it out a little bit so you could see it. So I don't know if you can see right there, a little nipple that's on the side, that's in there. That's like a little guide that pushes that fuse box into the fender. And then once you push it in, it holds itself there in position for just so that you can get the rest of that fuse panel in there. But yeah, sorry for a little bit of the blurry video and the lighting, because unfortunately it's in a poorly lit area. So I'm trying to do the best that I can with just some external lighting, some LED lights, that just putting them low enough so that this one doesn't cause a glare to you folks when I'm installing this. But hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. And just, you go back again, you go back to your lug nut, and you go back to your 10-inch socket with your extension and your socket wrench, and then place the lug nut inside. If you can put it by hand, yes, perfect, put it in by hand. But because that space is very small, I don't want it to risk that the lug nut will fall down. So you just guide it with the socket wrench, and then just screw it in by hand. Once you screw that in by hand, don't tighten it on all the way, just enough so that it's in place. And then you go back again, you grab your short 10 millimeter socket and your short extension. And this one you can put by hand. Sorry, well, I'll take that back. I'll remove the extension, and we'll use this one by hand to guide it in. And once we get it in, we could just screw it by hand, and then go ahead and use your socket wrench with your short 10 millimeter, and then turn the socket wrench to the left to tighten the socket. So we'll go back, make sure that it's not too tight, because just when you feel a little pressure, you stop, because this is plastic, it's not metal, so it can break if you over torque it and over tighten it. So we'll go back to this one, and we'll tighten this one just enough that it's a little tight by hand, not too extensive. So there you go, guys. And sorry about the train, the fire trucks, the buses and everything. It's just, it's crazy. It's because I'm outside. So you can see that that's tightened there. And then you have the one on the side there that's also tightened there. So I'll go back. And so what I'll do is I'll try to see how it looks now. I'll just turn on the car. I'll push that on and let's go back. And as you can see just from here, the lighting is insane. It's like, because of that, it's like, it's super bright. So, I mean, compared to the other one, unfortunately, the one on the side also went bad as well. So it doesn't really shine as much as this brand new bulb. But in the night, it's insane, folks. I mean, I can tell you, it's so bright that I can see everything at night and clearly too. So we'll go ahead and we'll turn this off. Turn this guy off. Let's see. All right, so now we're gonna do this side, which is a lot easier than the other one was, because unfortunately with the other side, it was a lot more involved. So you'd have to definitely get in and try to just take off 2 screws. It's more involved, but it's not this bad. So for some people, for starters, anyone who actually has done this for the first time, it may be a little bit more uncomfortable for them to do. But being that this one is a lot simpler, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna unscrew this guy. And then here it goes. And then, like I said, there's a little seal, a little rubber gasket here. So put that to the side. Then we're gonna feel out the LED bulb and we're gonna turn it just gently. So it would be to the left, where it would be counterclockwise, and then the bulb pops out. So this one works, but it just turns on and off. And unfortunately, because of that, exactly like I said, so I had it to the left, was negative. This one, it seems like it's okay, but unfortunately, it just kept flickering. It kept turning on and off, so it wasn't really working as well. So I'll put this to the side with the other bad bulb. And this is the new bulb. And so the new bulb hopefully won't encounter the same problems. I've seen a lot of people on Amazon that has had the same type of problems before. So I don't know if it's something with the design or maybe just the LEDs that they got too hot and they just, maybe the chip inside just malfunctioned, I don't know. So here we go again. We'll push it in gently and we'll find a position where it goes in and then just gently turn it clockwise and then it'll just lock itself in position. Wow, busy night tonight, huh? It was a fire truck, an ambulance, a police car. Jesus. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. Once this is in, and we'll go ahead and put the lid back on. Find a position and then turn it clockwise. And now that's done. So we're going to go ahead and see how this works out. So I'll turn the camera. Let's see if I can turn it out all the way and position it like towards a down angle. Hopefully you guys can get a little visual of how it looks. Yeah, I think you can. I'll just have to turn off these lights that I use, these external LED lights. It helps because in dark environments, especially like this, I need as much lighting as I can. So let's try this now. And we're gonna turn this on and bam, there you go. This is exactly what I mean. It's super bright, and being that it's in this position, this is why I love these headlamps, because these LED bulbs are extremely bright. And as you can see that they're they were very, very bright. But yeah, so that was it for the installation, folks. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section. And I just came down with my scooter here. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, guys. Take care and have a blessed evening. Take care.